Today, what I would like to talk with you about is how to create the correct male frame and posture. And I'm going to give you a couple of exercises you can apply onto your students to actually get them into the correct position with you. So the hardest part for the gentleman in that case is that they should be in charge of their own balance as well as leading your lady, and as well as in charge of her balance. So in order to lead somebody, you have to make sure that you find your two vertical and horizontal lines being perfectly lined up with the rest of the body. So we talked a lot about the correct neutral position, where your weight is either in the middle of the foot or for the swing dances over the ball of the foot. And the next important thing is to get that flat back position by pulling the center of gravity inwards. So in a way, you feel more that way rather than relaxed, where your chest and butt pops backwards. So the center of elevation is also not behind the foot or in front of the foot. It's lined up with the center of gravity. And when you do that, actually the back from my back is getting longer. So I finish up the good horizontal posture with picking up my head up. The next thing would be to take care of the vertical line. So I like to explain that to my male student as the three main points. The first point is right in the middle of your shoulder blades. That would be your point number one. Another 2 points would be your two elbows, your right and left elbows. So when you take your hands to the side, we're gonna do this silly exercise. You're gonna place your right hand across in front and your left hand across behind, right? So can you see me from different angles? And you will place the first point of your right elbow to the side. So the rest of the hand, don't worry about it. You can open up later on. And the left point, which is your left elbow, slightly behind. So because of the lady's body weight and alignment in relationship to your body, she would be placed on your right side. You need to offer her space for your right hand. We don't want to see the right elbow and the left elbow being behind the middle point of your back. So this is slightly in front, and this would be, I would say, almost on the same alignment with the point in the middle of your back. So why use the 3 points? Because you need to feel the relationship between them. You don't want to use only one hand and flex your back. When I use my frame and I rotate it from right to left, I use it as a one unit together. So you don't want to overuse one hand, go one direction, and then forget about it. It's very important to understand that there is a circular energy happening around us from hand to hand. So once we've got your horizontal and vertical line, it's time actually to move on to some steps. And the hardest part, of course, is to maintain both of those line. So for those reasons, I usually do a couple of exercises. So if you have a problem of your student that they drop their arms once they start moving, all you have to do is just give them 2 handbags. So we'll use it an example of those 2 heavy things. Wow, they're pretty heavy. So the reason, you don't need those heavy, but the reason is to have a sense of weight in your arms. Because when you hold your lady, it's something to hold on to, not just to touch. So if you have that awareness of, gosh, so heavy, of the weight on your arms, they would be able to lead you then easily, because comparing to those bags, the lady would be super easy to carry on. So the constant feeling of body weight should happen not only during the exercise of standing and holding the frame, but also by doing some basic steps. It can be a foxtrot, it can be a box step in your walls, something easy where they don't have to think about the step too much, where they easily transfer their weight. So the most important thing is to focus on those two things, being always recharging the energy, always working, not just holding it and freezing it, because that will not help them. So that was the first exercise for the holding of the arms. Now the exercise I want to give you is for this right elbow. Most of the time, male pro-am students, they tend to drop it, right? And we trying to hold them underneath, and this doesn't help. So to get used to that position, when you practice in your close hold, ask them to rotate the wrist the other way. So you're still gonna get into your regular hold position, but the guys will be touching you now with this part of the hand. This automatically doesn't allow me to drop my elbow down, because it involves different muscle in the hand. So that would be a good way to get rid of the dropping of the right arm on gentleman frame. And again, you can use it in the whole routine. You can use it just on the exercise of regular basic steps as a warm-up for them. And we found it very helpful actually now with dancing as well, because transitioning from step to step, we get tired and we're just taking care of a touch of the lady, but we're not taking care of their frame position. So that was our exercise number 2. The next exercise would be for the rotational movements, such as double reverse turns, or maybe some followaways. Whenever you have your lady and you're trying to get around her and then lead her in front of you. So what we've seen a lot is that the guys are perfectly stand before they proceed to the step. Then what's happening? They are turning their own body, forgetting the lady behind them. And then they're struggling for getting back into the contact position. So for those reasons, I'm going to give you another exercise. You're going to ask them to take a chair. So when they hold the chair, again, they have a sense of body weight, not the body, a sense of weight in front of them. And you're going to ask them to do this exactly the same step by keeping the chair all the time in front of them. This will not allow them to move the lower part first and then the arms, because the chair is very heavy. What they will do is they will move the chair ahead of them. And once they try that, I guarantee you, dancing with the lady will seem for them the easiest thing in the world. So that was for the rotational movements around the floor, where you hold your lady either in the frame or even in a two hands hold. Once they done good job with the chair, you can do the same exercise with the pillow, where they don't have that much sense of weight, but they have a feeling of the pillow moving in front of them. And then you replace it to even smaller thing like a cup, and only after that you can proceed and try dance with a partner. And generally speaking, if you dance with a male pro-am student, it's extremely important for him to know his timing, because you can't backlead it as a lady. I mean, you can, but it's still too visual. So they should know their timing and then get their perfect balance in order to start dancing. Otherwise, we're gonna have many issues with that. So again, for a good frame, get them stand on their own feet, maybe even over the bowl of the food for a couple minutes day by day, so they can get used to that position, holding themselves perfectly balanced over one foot or over a different foot. Then for the right elbow, turn that wrist the other way and dance in that position. For the holding the whole frame, use the weight of the two bags. And for the rotary actions, rotary movements, use a chair to move it in front of you. So that was a couple of the hits to improve a gentleman frame.